Introducing Cogniteam, the startup becoming a world leader in robotics and simulation markets, in particular, in products requiring high levels of autonomy and intelligence. Hey guys, and welcome to one more episode of Builder Nation. For today's interview, we have Yehuda Elmaliah, co-founder and CEO at Cogniteam. Welcome, Yehuda. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Happy to join and be interviewed here. My background is in computer science. I learned bachelor, master, and PhD in computer science. At the beginning, I don't really like computer science. I like mostly the mathematics in computer science. Later on in the master degree, when I start really programming, moving things in robotics, that's what makes it fascinating, amazing, to be able to write code and to move an object in the world. That was amazing for me. And then the choice what to do next is, of course, to do a PhD in that. And then I decided, okay, what else? And I really like the academic part, but also like the industry part, and like to invent things. And that's why when I finished the PhD, I became a faculty member on the College of Management, which has the biggest computer science school in Israel. And in addition to that, I opened Cogniteam together with my co-founder, Dr. Nahum Kaminka. And in parallel, I made Cogniteam and also been a professor in the college. Later on, I was the dean of the faculty around 7 years, and in parallel to Cogniteam, which started its way as a project-based company, meaning we do projects around 10 years for different companies all over the world in robotics. Companies that developing robots came to us and asked for a solution, for example, to their localization of the robot, to the mapping, to the navigation, the main building blocks for the autonomy of the robots. And we became really expert in different robots, different environments, help them and solve their problems. And after we do around 10 years of development and project, we really realized that there is a missing layer when a company develops robots. Startup that try to develop a robotic solution. There is a problem in the world and say, hey, amazing, if we will invent this kind of robots to solve this problem, that will be great. But the way is very long. From the initial fund, for example, the seed round or something like that, until they will be in deployment, it takes around 6 years. While if you take in parallel the software company, it takes around 1.5 years to be in deployment. So this is difficult for VCs to invest in those robotics companies. So we say how we can help, how we can encourage people to move to robotics, and also the robotic revolution that everybody talk about it, how we can assist and make robots to be everywhere, to help people in any situation, in any place, in a lot of missions. And that's why Cogniteam pivot from a project-based company to a product-based company. And then the first time we do an investment round to build Nimbus. And Nimbus, which is the main product of Cogniteam, is an ecosystem for robotics, meaning an ecosystem, it includes the ability to develop quickly software in robotics, to manage robots, to control robots, to monitor them, debug them, and deploy them in one platform. It's a cloud-based platform that easily is interactive way to help company to do everything and actually make companies to focus on their hardware, on their robots that they're built and should be robust and build good, and the basic autonomy for the robot. All the rest is doing using Nimbus. Actually, now we take clients that started away with us, and after 1.5 years, they are in deployment, like a software company. So we bring this robotics company to come to the market quickly as software companies. And this is the main thing that we do from the day we established until today, bringing Nimbus to the table and help the robotic revolution to really be there.
I know that you just mentioned that you're mainly software, but I was actually looking in the website, and you guys have like 3 different robots as well that already have included Nimbus. I believe they're called Hamster and Pengo. So can you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, so Hamster was at the beginning a platform where a project-based company, you can do only software without touching hardware. So if you wanted to start with robotics, and a lot of labs want to also work with robots, and labs under the computer science, etc., wanted to focus on the software and not touch the hardware at all. So we built a platform called Hamster, small one, car-like, and it includes all the sensors and computing, included the ecosystem for developing software for robots, and can start easily writing your code with a platform that's easy to work with. Later on, when we build Nimbus, of course, Hamster is fully supported by Nimbus and it's connected to the cloud, and you can do it whatever you want. And if you wanted, for example, to do a research on autonomous cars, you can implement it on the Hamster, which is a car-like movement. For example, Mitsubishi, they wanted to do some algorithms, so they are doing research on our Hamster cars. So they bought a lot of them and run them in their lab and do all their experiments that they wanted to do for the next generation of autonomous cars.
Wow. So it depends on the kind of application, right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that. And I know that last year you closed a 6.6 million Series A funding round. So this was, in order, correct me if I'm wrong, to enhance Nimbus features. So what features are we talking about?
The main features that we wanted to be able in Nimbus, of course, first is to be able to monitor in a real time. When you are controlling a robot, you want to sometimes monitor and see everything. But in some cases, you wanted to intervene and take a control like a teleoperation, and you want it to work very fast. So that's one of the features. Also, to be able to record data while you choose which data you wanted to record and to upload to the cloud. Additional one, to support also the cobots, the robotic arms that move in the factories, that move things in the factories. And today you wanted to be able to put a cobot, a robotics arm, on a mobile robot, on an AMR, autonomous mobile robot. How to combine these two, and in one environment to do all these things. And this is exactly what Nimbus allows you to do, to manage these complicated robots, and also to support more in managing fleets of robots and not only single robots. And that was the thing that we really focused and to bring to the table and shorten the time of development and deployment of our clients.
How many years or months took you guys in order to develop Nimbus?
So it took us around 3 years, but this is the 3 years after the 10 years that we develop a lot of the software stack. So all the 10 years of the software stack is like a component in Nimbus that you can drag and drop and deploy them. For example, you say, hey, I wanted that my robot will be able to recognize persons. You don't need anything, just take the box, throw it into your project. You wanted another one, throw it to your project and connect between the two. So all of those is part of Nimbus. And if you, for example, wanted to check this, but it's difficult to do an experiment with your robot because let's say it's an outdoor robot, a big Jeep that you wanted to test. Not in any line of code you want to go out and check if it's working. So using Nimbus, you have also a 3D physical simulation that run on your browser without installing any simulator, and your code connecting to the simulator, and you can check all the logic of your robot. Really, in one place, you get everything.
Wow, it was a huge background, but it was necessary at the end of the day. I think you also need to adapt to the industry, to the changes, also to the clients for their specific needs. What would you say has been the biggest challenge there, talking about clients and satisfying their needs?
So really, clients is the important issue when you are developing the product. Always listen to your clients, because if one client, for example, say, I need this feature, you really need to think, this is a specific feature that this specific client need, or how did they miss that? Of course, it should be in our system. And we really find a lot of those kind of features that we are adding to the system based on the client's need, because they are generic. They need things that we really understand that any client will need. For example, take the data, the raw data of the robot, and export it to a CSV file, so they later on be able to do data analytics, etc., on their specific data. So those are things that quickly we enter to Nimbus, and it's open. You can do whatever you want by a few clicks.
And I mean, we're talking about clients, we're already talking about Nimbus, the product, how it works. I would like to ask you, what do you think it has been the biggest technical challenge that you guys have managed to solve through all these 13 years? And on the business side as well, what would you say has been the biggest challenge?
In technology, I would not say the biggest challenge, okay? Because any day you find another challenge. When you are programming, every day is to solve a new problem. And that was fascinating and make people really like what they are doing, because they are always learning, always read, always implementing, and from problem to problem. I don't say there is a problem that we didn't manage to solve, okay? Because if you are a good engineer and good engineering team, you will always find a way to solve the problem if not in the direct way, in another way, you will be able to find the solution for that. Cogniteam, we are really strong people that are really understanding what they need to do. And any problem that we are facing, we know how to solve. So that's not an issue for us. And if there are challenges, of course, every day, but I will not start to mention them because they are infinite. The business way, the main challenge is when you talk with clients, for example, let's say I'm speaking with a startup, and mostly they are with low budget. And you try to show them, look at Nimbus, look at this ecosystem, and you can do everything with that. But mostly the need is, but only this kind of feature, only to monitor, only to record. And you really know, because we have a rich history, what are the next steps that they will need. They currently now focus on their specific problem. If you find the right manager that really has the understanding, you will always find yourself as an integrating things. Instead of working in one system, do one-time integration, and that's all, okay? The thing that it's for us as a challenge with clients is to show them roadmap, what the main features that the product will need, and over the way. And if you just enter Nimbus now, you will save a lot of time. And sometimes you say, okay, this feature, you know what, I will develop it by myself. The main problem is you develop it, but when you develop something, you always need to maintain. And the issue of maintaining code that is not your core IP. Because, for example, if I'm building a robot that paints the wall, what is my core IP? Is really to understanding how the wall look like, to recognize the wall, how to be accurate in my paint, etc. Problems like navigation and upload the data and be able to deploy. It's not the core. So those things that you can use a third party like Nimbus, for example, and focus on your specific. That's the thing that is a challenge for us in sales when we are meeting new clients. And that's the main one. A previous one was onboarding process, because people see a demo, but we need to convince them how it will work on our robot, because every company thinks that their robot is unique and it's really difficult to integrate new software to their robots. And we say, hey, only 15 minutes. 15 minutes of integration and your robot is fully connected to Nimbus. And that's the thing that took us to make this short integration. It was a technical challenge that we solved, of course. At the beginning, it took 2 weeks. And now it's give us 15 minutes and it's fully integrated on your robot. And now it's connected, and choose if you want Nimbus or not.
It is a great feature, I will say, the onboarding process. And that's something we have never heard at the podcast before, especially the integration process. Most of the times we talk about technical challenges because most of the companies are focused on hardware, but whenever we try to speak about software, we never talk about the challenges involved, and especially the onboarding when it comes to the integration between hardware and software. That 15-minute gap, I think it's super important because most of the companies might get desperate on this process. I think it's a great feature indeed, and I think it was worth it. I would like to talk about the next steps for the company. Are you guys planning on expanding? Are you guys planning on releasing any new projects anytime soon or something like that?
This year, we are not expanding to another countries. Next year, we will expand to the US. And of course, our main target now is to add more and more clients to the ecosystem, to Nimbus. That's the main challenge of adding new clients and additional and showing the growth curve. This is our main focus.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And last but not least, in order to close out this interview, this amazing interview, do you have any advice for future entrepreneurs or people starting on this path?
Of course, I came from computer science, etc., but I didn't learn a program of entrepreneurship or something like that. You learn it by doing it. But for young people, before they are entrepreneurs, I really advise you to learn the bachelor degree or something like that in a technical one. Because if you are a technical person, you understand the technique, even if you will not write a line of code in your life, but you really understand how things work. And then you will be able to find solution for problems. The main problem, because I'm talking a lot with students, I'm teaching sometimes, and you find also students that are entrepreneurs, but the problems that they are trying to solve, it's problems that they know. And most of the problems, the real ones that a lot of entrepreneurs goes, is for the enterprise's solution. And in order to understanding the enterprise solution, you need to be there. So if you are working in a company, big company, and you are a programmer in a big company, and you are an entrepreneur in your heart, you want to do something, look around you. Look what's missing when you are every day writing your code. You say, oh, if I had this ability, and you can be the one that will implement this ability and sell it. So I think this is the way to look at B2B market, or to give and use solutions in the B2B market.
Great piece of advice. Thank you so much for sharing, Yehuda. And thank you so much for being here, for once again sharing your experiences. Do you have any social media handles? Where can people find you or the company?
Sure. You can on LinkedIn, of course, Cogniteam, and also enter our website, cogniteam.com. And if you want to look at Nimbus product, there is a link from there, but there is another, cognimbus.com.
Thank you so much. And remember, guys, that you can also find more information, interesting articles, interesting interviews just like this one, directly on our website, controlhub.com/builder-nation. We would love to hear from you. And once again, Yehuda, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time, and for joining Builder Nation today.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to present.